PWO, 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 PWO.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday. It is PWO right here coming to you.
There we go.
All right. As always, I'm your host, Matt. We have on with us tonight on the Zoom, we have Dean of Old School, D. White.
Ready to rock. Let's do this. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Superstar Billy White over there. Hitman Hall, as always, wearing his special shirt.
Hello.
God, what would I do without him? He's the COD father. He's here. COD Sinclair, keeping me sane.
Hey, I didn't know that we got Johnny Springer out of Wrestle House yet.
I didn't know you could leave Wrestle House. And always, backed by popular demand, he's the lovable Pat Lilly.
Jeff had to call me today to make sure I was coming on the show.
Well,
He'll never admit it, but he did.
I don't know what Pat's talking about.
I'll show the phone call in my.
First and foremost, we want to give our condolences and all of our thoughts and prayers out to the family of Kamala, recently lost to us. Man, the journey he has been on and the ordeals he has had to overcome. God, may he rest now at this point.
They did say COVID related today.
He was tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
Said he got it. At least the theory is that he got it during his weekly dialysis.
Yeah, I know he had diabetes pretty bad too.
He had both his legs amputated the last couple of years over diabetic issues. Crazily enough, I think at least three of the five of us saw him in one of his last matches ever at Cortland High School.
Right here in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, where he wrestled history teacher Mike Moon. And with some assistance from Jay Lethal, Mike Moon beat Kamala.
Get out of here.
That's a real
thing. That's canon.
Story.
Yeah.
Mike Moon, who is one of my favorite teachers and JV football coaches, he's got to be 130 pounds soaking wet, and came out to the ring in a 3 sizes too big Portland wrestling singlet.
You could have put 2 people in.
He took a scoop slam, and Jay Lethal came in and did the rest.
Hit that lethal injection and got the dub for the team.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, that gimmick was, it was kind of revolutionary for the time. If you want me to give you a little bit of the Dean of Old School take on this, anybody up for that? Sure you are. You're going to get it anyway. Okay, so Jerry the King Lawler actually came up with that gimmick for him, the Kamala, the Ugandan giant, as that sort of monster heel in Memphis. Because that's kind of the area that he's from, Mississippi. But anyway, it's really more based on in Congo. Professional wrestling is huge in that part of Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of their
voodoo wrestling.
Yes, it's voodoo wrestling, and it's huge. It's hugely popular. They just had a Netflix documentary called Home Games, which they did a whole feature on it on Congo wrestling.
Yeah, that whole Home Games series, by the way, is really awesome.
Yeah, really good.
Where's the rooster?
I was about to say, who has chickens?
The red rooster is nearby, guys.
Tell Terry Taylor to get out of here.
He wasn't booked for this show.
That's right.
He's not signed to a contract. He's got to beat Moose for that.
It's got to be a log play, right?
But if I go back to the Home Games, if I feel that basically they incorporated voodoo because that was a way around government regulations that had banned pro wrestling. But because voodoo was part of their culture, you could do cultural activities, but you couldn't do, sports. So it became a cultural activity, and a lot of it involved face paint and makeup and spiritual voodoo elements. And so, Kamala was that. He brought that kind of thing to Memphis. Yeah. And so, kind of the boogeyman before the boogeyman. anyway, that's God bless him. He was a monster heel in lots of areas, especially Memphis, Mid-South, UWF. I remember he and One Man Gang, and then on to WWF where he, couldn't beat Hulk Hogan like no one else could either.
Speaking of Hulk Hogan, I remember Kamala in 1983 body slammed Andre the Giant, and that was before Hulk Hogan did it. So
yes, he did.
They can kiss his rear.
And also for the old school Ring of Honor guys, he actually had a title match, a heavyweight title match with Bryan Danielson too. Ring of Honor.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh Lord.
Was he not on the Heroes of the Wrestling show?
He was not.
Oh, darn it. Oh, well.
He's gonna be missed. He will be.
He's too
missed.
young for that show.
He wasn't missed on that show.
Well, God bless you, Ryan. Patience of a saint. One day we're gonna make someone watch that, and it'll be like a live punishment.
Yeah, Dwight. Yeah, Dwight did it already.
I did it already. Every second of it.
That seems like a unrated watch along whenever COVID ends, so we get together with beer and.
One that never makes it to the podcast world. Maybe
like
do a live video on Facebook or YouTube, but
like
maybe
top
not
10
recordable.
worst matches of all time. You definitely
And they have all of them.
At least two of them are from that.
At least two of them.
All right, moving on. Just a real quick preview because tomorrow night we do have some Impact Wrestling. Just a quick little preview. What we do know is Havoc and Nevaeh are going to face Tasha Steelz and Kyrie Hogan in a no disqualification tag match.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Kira Hogan.
Kira Hogan. My bad. It's a Monday. I got Monday brain. I apologize.
It's okay, man. We're all here to help out.
I need it, Lord knows. Locker Room Talk, which is going to have everyone's favorite guests, RVD and Katie Forbes.
Yeah.
Not my favorite guest.
Oh, not mine either. Jordan Grace versus Kimberly is going to happen. And Eddie Edwards.
Kimberly just signed her contract, too.
She did. I'm not going to lie. I thought she was already signed, but I'm happy she is. I think she's pretty solid in ring.
Yeah, she is one of the lower mid card women that they have on their roster.
Higher, lower mid card.
She's there.
Try to give her a little bit of credit.
She's somewhere in here.
Right.
She's not here. Not here so much. Right here.
The best looking in Ugly Town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. I won't go any further than that. But hey, I did. I don't know if you saw Jordan Grace put out a kind of a semi-controversial tweet this week, that she was going to wrestle whoever she wanted going on in the future, including men, which seems to be kind of a controversial take these days with women wrestling men. But Jordan Grace says she doesn't care what anybody says. She's going to do what she wants. So
I was about to say, Dwight, you missed our whole discussion about that last week.
That's what everybody should be doing. Just throwing that out there. Doing what they want at least.
Yeah.
Everybody except for Camille. She's only going to wrestle women.
That's right. That's right.
But last thing here for Impact, we're not going to go to their fallout, but Eddie Edwards will defend the Impact World title. Anyone want to guess who he's going to defend it against?
Don't care because he's going to retain because it's only been a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Young.
Rushing that one. I don't know if I'd go there just yet.
It's just
slow
wishful.
burning it.
It's wishful thinking.
Well, they had a dust. I mean, they had a standoff.
He took out Rich Swann.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie Edwards gonna do what typical Boston guys do and overreact and do something dumb like lose your title.
Of course.
Give you a little bit of a Boston knee party.
Losing your title sounds like more of a Chris Jericho thing, but I'll give it.
Oh.
Hey,
Well,
man,
he
don't
played
go
up
to steakhouses. That's all I'm saying.
Well, a year ago, Eddie Edwards was doing the whole "I have brain damage because Sammy Callahan hit me in the head with a baseball bat." So, I mean, they could bring that back too.
Best spot ever.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say TJP is gonna answer the call.
Right now, I'm watching WCW Road Wild 1998, and there's a spot in there. I'm going to severely disagree with you. There is a triple-decker table spot in that match off of a scaffold.
PE?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oy. All right, well, that's Impact for tomorrow. When we have more information, we'll probably just talk about it on Thursday when we're going over reviews. Up next, clip of Goldberg came out recently this week.
Oh God.
Why is he still relevant in 2020?
Well, unfortunately, he was a world champion in 2020. That's when we know things should have, things were gonna
God,
go
was
wrong.
that this year
That
still?
was this
Yeah.
year. He lost it at this past WrestleMania.
I still
He
blame you
beat
for
the
that,
Fiend
Pat.
this year.
I still blame you for
Also-
that, Pat, because you're the one that told me that happened.
Also,
I forgot.
I believe he won it at the first empty
Fair
arena
enough.
pay-per-view.
Fair enough. Jeff lost it so bad that he had to
We
mute
broke
himself.
Jeff that night. Jeff hasn't been the same
Yeah.
since. At the
I
same
don't-
time, Ryan hasn't really been the same since.
That's right.
No,
Ryan hasn't said a single curse word since then.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
guys. I
and
forgot about
and
that.
it's crazy. And it's crazy because I definitely predicted that weeks before, and everybody called me crazy. Everybody on this show said that I was crazy. That was never gonna happen. Okay, I was right.
Yeah,
Second of all, I
just
wish I
spot-
wasn't right.
Yeah,
Our,
earned your
fa-
spot
our
at the
faith
table.
in WWE forever. changed.
Oh well, so here real quick, let's just get through this Goldberg segment and then the other horrible thing about WWE that we got to talk about, and then that will be it. Goldberg called Roman Reigns a joke because of the criticism he received for headbutting a door and concussing himself. Everyone has seen this video, correct?
Yes. Oh yeah, 1,000 times.
So, every major athlete or anyone who takes themselves seriously knows why I did it. I mean, when you're portraying a dude of such epic violence, you're
Dude,
gonna
that's such
headbutt a
epic
door.
violence.
And what's the worst thing that happens? I get busted open. I get another concussion, lose a week of my life. What?
I
Because
hope he's-
Because this guy's the biggest tool ever. I've been on this train since way back in the day when WCW was on. I couldn't stand him then. I can't stand him now. And listen, Bret Hart gets a lot of stick for taking himself seriously and being a mark for himself. Okay, that's fine. But at least he can work. Goldberg is awful. Like I just get
Yeah.
tired of hearing this guy. Like your gimmick is that you didn't lose. It's just terrible. He's just awful.
he was always bad. I agree.
Yeah,
Concur.
and didn't get any better.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Well, and but that's one of those. If you listen to some of the guys that got sort of like the heat seeker, the heat magnets in the back, or a lot of these guys that weren't wrestling fans, like they didn't grow up as wrestling fans, like the Lex Lugers and the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
It was sort of handed their spot because they looked like a star, but they never were wrestling fans. And I think that they don't really have that same love for the business like you see from a guy like Chris Jericho, or you see for a guy like like Shelton Benjamin, somebody who had all
Yeah.
that legit talent, but was also a huge, he was a fan of wrestling. And so
And
I think you saw that in Goldberg. He was not a wrestling fan.
No,
No,
and-
there's a
and-
backup plan.
Unfortunately, it's a sign of why WCW didn't work. He went from a Georgia Bulldog to an Atlanta Falcon to a Ted Turner wrestling,
Employee.
gimmick.
Yeah, it was
Eh,
it.
And if you want to, and if you just want wrestling to be your job and make a living that way, I don't mind that at all. You don't have to love the wrestling business, but at least don't be out here hurting people and fall in line and do it correctly. Jeez,
And then Bret Hart's career and all.
it ain't
Oh,
even
gosh,
about
did you have
that.
to go? Why'd you have to
We
go
could-
there,
No,
man?
We could talk about it, but nah, we don't need to, for real.
It ain't even about that.
Okay, so now I have to ask this though, because I believe everyone on discussion has participated in an actual
What-
sport.
What can I talk about? What's really hilarious about this?
Yeah, go for it.
Roman Reigns and Goldberg
Got in a Twitter beef?
are getting into a Twitter beef, and they're the
Mhm.
same person.
Right.
Is it bad that I like Roman Reigns more?
No, okay.
No,
I- 'cause I
it's
feel
not
like- I
because
feel
The
like
only
he's a better
difference-
person than Goldberg.
I mean, I don't know, man. It takes a lot
Well-
to fake leukemia.
He's the better. No, he's a better person, and God forbid I say he's a better wrestler. I mean, I won't. That's that ain't saying
I don't
much.
think he's wrong.
No, he is.
Nah, I
He's
think
not-
Jeff's right.
not.
He's not
He
wrong.
is.
The only difference
Yeah.
is that Roman Reigns is from a wrestling family.
Right. He's a slightly better wrestler.
He's
And maybe-
he's Goldberg if he was Ric Flair's son.
He's
Right.
safe. Like, at least Roman Reigns is safe. Like,
Also,
Jesus.
I hate to be the one to point this out, but
Mm.
Roman Reigns off TV, Raw's ratings are in the crapper.
Oh my gosh, that's
No,
See,
no,
that's
no, no, no.
stop.
Yeah.
Stop, because
Say
that's
it.
not. You can say it all you want. But
They maintained for plenty of time after
Don't-
Reigns left.
Don't-
It's just been the stories lately.
Don't pull a trap over there, Matt. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or a hammy.
I just hope that everybody here is ready to see Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 37.
And this is the start of it because it was
It'll go-
supposed to
it'll
happen
go
last
on.
Mania.
It'll go on after Edge and Orton.
yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see that
And
the Heroes
on
of Wrestling,
SmackDown.
Heroes of Wrestling Part 2. It's gonna be great.
Heroes
Yeah.
of WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, and it
It's
could
going
have
to be so bad we might get cancer.
right.
I'm
I was
sure.
gonna say
Well,
we-
speaking of things that are really bad, you guys ready to move to this next one, or Dwight, you want to finish?
Mickey James is going to Raw tonight. I don't. is that
Yeah,
what we're
she's
talking about?
apparently been advertised for
Okay.
Raw.
Oh
Okay.
no, she's the one Shane is going to get in the underground.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna be Shayna versus Mickey James in the Underground. It's awesome.
It's
So-
like Jeff's fantasy gone wrong.
Only thing you need is like Rosemary and Allie in there, or no, Rosemary and freaking Susie. There you go.
There you go. There it is.
Misspoke.
So, the only thing I want to talk about from SmackDown is Retribution. This
Is
the
that what
only
it's
thing-
called?
It's their Retribution.
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 You know,
Is this Retribution? Is this
It was so funny. It was like he was trying so hard to make sure he got in all of his lines before he took off running.
Mhm.
It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous.
So
I wish somebody would have punched Michael Cole in the mouth so we wouldn't have to hear him
You
anymore.
gotta say retribution. Yes, say retribution. Say retribution. Say
I said it.
retribution.
I said it Thursday. I think. Yeah, Thursday, and I will say it again. How in the world are you doing this takeover angle where nobody has announced that their name is Retribution,
well,
but
apparently it was.
all the WWE workers know that their name is Retribution?
No, Pat, it was the opposite. Didn't they put
they
some?
sent it
They
in.
Didn't they put?
tweeted it that apparently their name is Retribution.
Yeah. So they
But,
tweeted
like-
their name, and then so the public knows, the WWE universe knows, but Michael Cole doesn't,
Also,
or kind of doesn't know.
Also, the word is that all of the males that were in
Well,
this
potentially
thing-
everyone on SmackDown.
No, the women are going to stay because they beat up the one girl. Apparently,
There's a theory that
but
it might be
apparently
different
all
women.
of the men in that segment are not going to be the men who are actually in this
Yeah.
gimmick.
The people that
So-
were like
Wow.
there. Yeah, the people that were there weren't the people. They're just
So,
there were
like,
other
Are they
Right.
races.
Black
Yeah.
Scorpioning this?
Did you?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Did you notice that like Jamie Noble and Bo Dallas and those guys are really small. So when they throw Dijak into this, and he's a foot taller than anybody that was in this segment, I want
more than a foot.
Oh my
Well,
god!
it's gonna be aces and eights.
Aces and eights, American males. No,
Everything's
but man,
American
like,
males.
God, I'm just it's so, and we'll get to it, I'm sure too, about just everything about WWE is insulting to the fan.
It is.
Oh yeah.
And I'm coming at you, Seth Rollins, in a little bit about
Mhm.
this, you asshole. I'm done with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is dead. You should take that shirt off.
Hey, I
Put
was going to
put
add
it-
in too. Can we fast forward? I'll go ahead and do spoiler alert that John Cena is going to defeat this entire group at the
At
end and make them
SummerSlam?
irrelevant.
It's
least
gotta be at
that's how the-
SummerSlam.
Right, it's
Right,
gonna
Ryan?
be just like the
Yeah.
Nexus.
SummerSlam 2010
we-
referee's discretion.
We've seen this, or so
Right
is
now on
Roman
YouTube.
Reigns. Does Roman Reigns play the John Cena part where he comes? He's the one that defeats them all and makes them irrelevant. Is that what's
Could
gonna
be.
happen?
Actually, Roman Reigns is going to be the head of Retribution
Oh,
for Vince making him do the fake leukemia angle.
okay.
Oh my! Wait. So does that make them faces or heels?
I hope
So
not.
wait. If
it
Roman
makes
comes
them-
out
it
and
ma-
says Vince made me do this,
It makes him 50 Shades of Grey.
Well,
They're
you guys,
WWE heels.
but you guys are forgetting that he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy.
He's just,
He's
the
just
guy.
not on TV, Swag.
but he's
I kind of
just,
forgot he was there.
but also,
He's just
Or
a
Roman
stupid
Reigns.
idiot.
but also he's the big dog,
Right.
and not
So-
and not a guy at all.
Here is kind of the things that stuck with me from this angle. No one knows how to use spray paint, and no one knows what they're spray painting,
Right.
except for the one W with like the no.
And were these guys were these guys also the ninjas? Because there was a similar thing going on with ninjas a few
That's-
weeks ago. Is it all?
Yeah.
I don't.
That-
I'm,
yeah,
confu-
That's what I
I'm
said.
confused. I'm
Last
confused.
week I was like, were they
Actually-
ninjas?
Actually, the same group that's here was the ninjas, and it was
Oh.
the people standing around the WWE Underground or Raw Underground.
Oh, okay.
They're
funny
all
thing-
one and the same.
The funny thing was too is like, so once they got out there and they started tearing stuff up, I was like, oh, I mean it was stupid, but okay. And then they like tore things up, and then when they all got in the ring, they kind of like once they got into the ring, they didn't know what to do. It was like I was like, what? Like,
And
if
now
you
there's a
like-
chainsaw.
yeah.
Right.
And like
you didn't use it,
but a
you
baby
know.
chainsaw.
And
'cause-
also,
Somebody
why
call
are you
Terry
cutting
Funk.
the ropes? Like what?
Yeah.
Are,
and
are
it was-
the
it
ropes
was-
the chains that bind us?
and it was like one cut, and they turn around and be like,
Yeah.
ah,
That's just like in Little Giants when they gain their first yard and everybody loses their collective minds.
Look, this is not going to be a popular opinion,
Yes, it is.
Okay.
but all these guys acted like a bunch of Eugenes out there.
I
Oh.
retract my statement.
Yes.
And
the views of Patrick Lilley do not reflect.
no, but it's
podcast
not.
whatsoever.
And when I say that, I mean literally the way that guy portrayed that character is how they were reacting to what they were doing.
Well, because it's contrived, and I think that's
It's a little bit better, but not much.
Well, it's what
It's what it is. It's what WWE is serving, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like that. It's one of those situations where, and if I ever get this homework, these videos done that I've been writing notes for 6 months now, but I was going over it. You can tell when somebody is an aggrieved party, like there's a heel turn. I've been aggrieved, and they come out and they plead, and you're like, he's kind of being a douche, but I can't disagree. This is not that. It could be that if you had like the Nexus when they came out, they're like, you're keeping us down. We're the next generation. Get out of the way. And you bought
Rhyme or
into it.
reason.
Right. This was just like, there's no rhyme or reason. We don't have a cause. We're just breaking stuff.
No.
And I don't know whether to hate him, like him, or just be annoyed. And I was
Well,
just annoyed.
you know what the best thing is going to be is when they actually get on the mic and they're like, "We're here to prove that all lives matter."
Oh gosh.
Because
they want
No,
to.
no, it's gonna, Adam
Actually-
Blompier said, "Our lives matter."
Oh,
That's what
my
it's
God.
So would anybody be surprised if like months down the road something comes out and it's like, oh, Vince had this on his desk back in May, and he held off for 2 months.
Jeez. Well, another thing too that pisses me off is like, so they show you this, like, hey, like what this retribution people are doing, like this is a shoot. Yeah, so you're saying that this is a shoot and that everything else that you do is fake. It's phony. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, look how
Let's
real
not
this
forget-
is.
They're
So-
Let's not
also
forget the Molotov cocktail that they threw outside.
At a
So,
generator.
like,
you have
So-
to love the shoot that they announce on their Twitter before the show goes on.
Right. Because that's how fights happen.
So here's the other thing. I need to ask this
Pat,
question.
Raw Underground.
And Pat, you know, because our generator for football, so there's a generator that can obviously be on the ground, but for some reason, like the floor generator was up off of the ground 10 feet in the perfect angle to
Well, because
Throw a
size
Molotov
matters in
cocktail at.
WWE.
like terrible.
So here's the other thing too. So Retribution, you give off the thought process that WWE's done these people wrong, right? That's kind of the theory there. That's what the whole thing of this is. And the main thought
Well,
is that it's going to be some
we-
of the fired wrestlers.
We think so.
But like,
Forgotten Sons. I've heard this. Forgotten Sons are in it. I've heard that.
I've heard
too.
Forgotten Sons. I've
mean
heard
Chompa
Champa
Dijak.
So
Yeah.
this will be forgotten gimmick, is what you're saying.
Yes.
At least, well. So here's the other thing, though. So if you're gonna put someone in this who was released, that's
Lars
kind of the
Sullivan.
theory. Is that was Lars Sullivan
Drake.
released?
Drake Maverick.
See,
Also-
I would take that, but like, let's be real here.
No.
The best people. No. But at least that makes sense.
He's gonna get his old camo pants out from his AOP days.
But
Yeah, and
here's
then
my
want to
thing.
make sure he doesn't
Wash
go to
the
the
piss
bathroom.
out of it.
Here's my thing with this. Who is gonna be like any kind of top star that was fired? Because Good Brothers are gone, Hawkins and Ryder are gone.
EC3 is gone.
EC3
Leo Rush.
is
It's not Leo
gone.
Rush.
EY
Definitely
is
not Leo
gone.
Rush.
Yeah, God, if it's Leo Rush, they got me fooled. So
Right.
some of the names you're left with here: Primo and Epico,
No.
Eric Rowan,
Yeah, they could be if he throws
And
a
his
big
spider.
remote control spider
No-
on somebody.
No Way Jose, Jesper Ryan.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna have their own referee and Mike Chioda.
Oh my gosh.
See, there's
Don't
one
please-
name here that kind of sticks out. That would be like yeah, okay, but I mean,
This is on Raw right now.
Is
I'm
it-
turning it on now.
there's,
No,
there's
this is on
Rusev.
SmackDown.
It's on both. It's been on both shows.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Just
They're
not on
attacking
NXT.
both, right?
I think that he's buried the E enough in passing on his YouTube show.
But
Who?
that part of me goes like, if he's done it,
If he's
enough-
working it though, yeah.
If he's working it, which would explain like why it would be okay to have like Lana on there from time to time.
It would be a super awesome, powerful group if it was Rusev, Dijak, and Ciampa. I can't wait for them to lose to Cena.
Either
that or Roman.
Anybody but you, Roman.
anybody but you. All right, so that's that for Retribution. Do you guys any special guesses on anything with them before we move on?
Who cares?
They won't be a thing by 2021.
Oh, good
Yeah,
one.
I
They
say
don't,
that
don't make it past Survivor Series.
that was my prediction exactly. They're gonna have a Survivor Series match.
Oh,
Somebody is gonna be like,
Team
"Oh, it's
WWE
time to
versus Team
take you
Retribution."
guys. It's time to take you guys down."
Yep.
it's the
And-
Seth
you know,
Rollins face
hey,
turn we all knew was
Yeah.
coming.
guys, we're all looking.
Hey, we got Raw Underground tonight at 10 again.
Hold on.
We're
Seth is
looking way
not
too
gonna-
hard at this.
Listen, as far as Seth goes, we need to think about him not being on TV this fall because he's going to be a dad.
The
Nah, they'll still tape.
hold on,
Oh well,
Hold
no, they
on.
did say they probably weren't going to.
guys.
So maybe not.
We're thinking way too hard about this.
Yep.
There's only one way for Retribution to go out. It's one.
Nuclear bomb.
It's one last ride.
Oh
No.
my gosh. Oh, gosh.
Kane,
Are they-
The
are they
Undertaker,
druids?
AJ Styles,
Two
Yeah.
zombie
Roman
brothers.
is going to be a druid.
and Johnny Gargano for some reason.
Hey,
And then,
we,
and then
um,
Candice LeRae is the female presence.
Yeah.
Oh,
are we zooming underground again tonight? Can that be a thing again?
Jeff, Jeff,
Are we gonna give it
Jeff.
ratings?
Jeff. I
it
want you
was
to look at me
so-
right now. Wait. Jeff, I want you to look at me right now.
Yes.
I will never, ever
Well,
watch
if
that
I'm
again.
well, hey, did anybody take my advice
I'm
and
gonna watch
go
this again tonight. I am.
and go and watch? I posted a link
Yeah,
to Josh
Bloodsport.
Barnett's Blood and watch that because it can work. You can let that work.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
obviously, you got guys because you have guys in WWE with legit wrestling, shoot fighting. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura it just comes to mind immediately. These guys have done it. They can do it. They can make it look convincing. That's not what they did. I want to know why were there dancers when there wasn't any music?
That's what I said.
Anyway,
Hold
that's
on,
what I was thinking.
And if you're gonna pay for
Shinsuke's
it,
on SmackDown.
get classy
Gosh.
ones.
Yeah, get ones that aren't like the B team.
See-
spoilers. You want spoilers on this?
Don't say Shayna
Who
Baszler's got to
cares?
be one of the dancing
Shay,
girls.
Shayna Baszler is going to be on Underground tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's gonna beat up
that
Mickie
makes
James.
sense.
That's
'cause
been
they're not doing
advertised.
anything else with her.
Who is she gonna beat up?
Don't say
Dana
that.
Brooks, because Dana
Don't.
Brooks was asking to
Oh,
be
not-
on it.
God, not Dana. Poor
It's
It's
gotta
gotta
be
be
Dana.
Sarah Logan.
Mickie
Poor-
James.
She's not on the show.
poor
And
Dana.
pregnant.
I
Are you sure?
And
Are you sure
pregnant.
she's not a part of Retribution?
She's
Rollins
pregnant.
and Rollins and Dominic are
That's
going
right.
to have a contract signing.
Ryan,
like-
would you let Sarah go by Shayna Baszler while pregnant?
Man, I almost forgot that they were actually
Uh.
doing that Rollins Dominic match.
Okay, so what match are you looking forward to more? Rollins Dominic or Pat McAfee Adam Cole?
Oh, I don't know,
That's
but
in the
Dominic.
same weekend.
By nature of Adam
Um,
Cole being Adam Cole, it's that.
Yeah.
There's gonna be an
So
hour
now-
of
Because
AEW
I'm-
during that.
Look, I am done supporting anything Seth Rollins ever.
I don't know, but
So-
I just
Yeah.
watched. I watched
I'm
Dominic
done
Mysterio.
with
Just
that cat.
Dominic Mysterio just is coming in on Raw looking like the Sandman.
Yes, he is. He
Oh
has
my gosh.
he has his own music and his own his own I don't know vignette or whatever.
There's so many
Kendo
jokes that
But he's
can
not
be-
signed.
So many jokes that can be made about what you just said that
Okay.
we need to go above.
Okay.
Well, that's perfect because we're talking about shoot style fights. Tom Lawler actually recently did an interview on this and stated why he thinks that shoot style fights deliver better than things like an eye for an eye match.
Okay.
And that was very interesting because he kind of points out that, like, really this.
I'm sorry. Oh, eye for an eye.
Did you forget or?
I can't believe anyone's like, you know what would work better than those eye for an eye matches? Anything.
Like anything.
Anything. Yeah. Why are we talking about that? I'm sorry.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because in the interview he's talking about how it really started with Japanese wrestling becoming more prominent and seen worldwide, and strong style being way more accepted worldwide.
Yeah, the WWE refuses to embrace.
And he thought it was really interesting because Dwight, you want to talk about Davey Boy Smith versus Simon Gotch from MLW earlier this year,
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, but you can't do that and be PG at the same time. That's the thing.
No. Well, that's the
Um,
thing that they pick and choose. Like, hey, look at how, you're not stupid now, but hey, oh, surprise! Actually, now we're doing this. Now we're doing this. You were stupid, and now it's real, or it's real in air quotes.
Well, somebody posted a picture as a screen grab from last week, and it said Raw Underground, and in the corner it said TV 14. It was like, yeah, you can't do those things together. Like,
Yeah.
Bloodsport, UFC, those things are not at
No.
all. And even New Japan. I mean, you think Minoru Suzuki is he TV 14? No way.
no,
No.
Can't,
But-
can't, have
Tokyo
those,
Pimp isn't either.
can't have those hookers on PG.
Right.
Even Ring of
Shame.
Honor is not like TV 14.
Right. So, but Lawler goes on here and says the thing about these kind of matches is that it's a different type of stipulation, but it's not convoluted. It's not eye for an eye that's just out of this world ridiculous. That's going to take someone completely out of this. Everything we've been saying leading up to and since the match. But this would be a legitimate way if two people hate each other and you can't settle it in a pro wrestling contest with pins. What's more satisfying, pinning someone for 3 seconds or knocking them out or making them tap out?
Or ripping their eyeball out.
So
Yeah.
what belt you win?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, but wait, that makes sense from a guy who's a legit fighter. What you
Yeah.
have on WWE is television writers, and television writers, everything's contrived and scripted, and so when you have the real hatred and the real animosity, I mean, think about those, like, the Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor promos and things. I mean, it's like those guys really want to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, Yeah, but that's a modern wrestling problem. Like
Right.
AEW is the same way. The only place that isn't that way is probably Ring of Honor and New Japan. Everybody on WWE is still kind of like friendly, and AEW is friendly. I mean, there's your one-offs.
Well,
but
the thing
but
about
Everybody
Cody
in
and
Ring of
MJF.
Honor
they're
clearly
more
pretty- also.
they're more contests than they are fights, or like but no one really has bones to pick with anymore. It's just but everybody, let's do the best competition, best match we can put on.
yeah, not since Lashley and Rusev anyway.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right. Next topic here. Forbes, Alfred Kanua, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his last name. Once again, I haven't heard it actually pronounced, so I apologize. But he recently did an interview saying that as a wrestling fan, Triple H appears to be the heir apparent, but to Wall Street, it looks otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of came up because Variety has recently called out WWE for its declining popularity and said that investors need to hold McMahon accountable. So Kanua came on and said a research firm, in which I think this is an even bigger deal, the fact that the research firms on Wall Street that advise investors as to what to invest in came out with a very detailed analysis. Usually it's kind of numbers and other little things of white lies that Vince McMahon tells about. Oh, business is fine, our ratings will be fine. It blew right past that and got as specific as saying Paul Heyman had a vision to create new young stars, and he's no longer with the company. Now they're down to Bruce Pritchard, and all of Vince McMahon's old games were called out. The fact that this information is now available to investors is going to go a long way in how they perceive WWE, because for so long investors were in the dark.
Right.
I get on these shareholders' calls. I'm going to be on today, and even to this day, the questions that they ask, and the questions that they don't ask about WWE, the things that Vince and the company are not able to get away with and explaining away with their numbers, are going down. Those are no longer able to get past the shareholders, able to get past mainstream media. And as you can see, shareholders filed a class action lawsuit against WWE earlier this year. Things are really majorly changing in terms of WWE's perception on Wall Street, and that's a very scary story. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and that's and even their instincts, like if you saw today, there was a story I read that with NXT is losing in the ratings to AEW pretty handily every week now, and the response by WWE was to hire 2 new writers. Okay, which is like the wrong thing to do, right?
I think
what's
the
not
number,
working on the other shows and put it over there.
I think the number is like 4 out of 32 or something like that. I think WWE's beat him in the ratings 4 times out of 32, I believe.
It's something ridiculous.
But their answer was to hire writers, right?
Dwight,
they're gonna build new stars.
The problem is nothing's gonna change till Vince is gone.
Well, that's
there's a report that we talked about last week when you weren't on, that for the 2 Raws that they shot last week, Vince turned down 28 of 32 segments that were given to him. Upon their first meeting.
There was a guy a couple of years ago. He sat down and said, I think he said like the WWE would be better off if Vince was dead or when he wasn't around.
Oh, shut up, Jeff.
What was that guy's name?
Wait. But this was perfect. This leads into our next little segment here.
The same sleazy guy you can't see in any other wrestling organization because he asks for too much money.
So Kanua goes and continues here. I don't think this time around anything like that is going to happen. This one feels like the calm before the storm, because people are now slowly cracking away at the invincibility complex that Vince McMahon had for so long on Wall Street. So now these reports that you're talking about, and there's a reason they came out right before the investor conference. This is a thing that they're reading to get ready for this meeting. So now this type of information is out. It's going to be on their minds for months. Then, once football and live sports come back and continue to ravage WWE's ratings to what I think will be cataclysmic proportions, then the third quarter meeting is going to be when stuff hits the fan. That's when there might be a slight demand for Vince to get moved out, because now he's done the scapegoat thing for a couple of cycles now, right? Paul Heyman in and out. Eric Bischoff in and out. Bruce Pritchard here, same story. They're going to eventually recognize what's going on.
Right. And that's...
Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the era we're living in now, and I don't know that because they went public in an environment where there wasn't competition. They went from having WWE 24/7 to creating the WWE network, which was a success and is still a success. And they sold that, but underneath all of that, the product was rotting. It was rotting from within. And what we're seeing now is, I don't know that Vince McMahon is capable of turning around the ship. He's got to be gone for this to change.
Well, and also too, what people don't understand, is that the wrestling numbers, and Dwight, you know this, the wrestling numbers are down in general. Like,
Right.
so you know, when AEW does 1 million, like, yeah, that's cool, but you know, that ain't shit on 25 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No.
20 years ago.
Well,
And I'm not
it-
saying that one's
well-
necessarily better than the other, but I'm just saying that the wrestling, for whatever reason, Vince or / just kayfabe or whatever, the fans aren't there in general. Like, so yeah, obviously there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser, you know, when you come to ratings and so on and so forth, but just overall in general. So, I mean, imagine what, like, we're all marks. But like some fans, even like AEW, I think AEW is going to have a problem with this too. Is like, yeah, they're watching now, but are those people going to be watching in 10 years? Some are, some aren't. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine the numbers in another 10, 15 years, they're going to dwindle down even more.
Well, think about when Raw was when Nitro was losing and failing. It still had, you know, more viewers than Raw has now. I mean, they were
Yeah.
still doing a
Twice as
rating. That,
much.
yeah, they had
Yeah,
two-
yeah.
Now,
yes,
They,
I
they
will
were
say-
failing at 2.5 million people were watching.
I
They
will
were
say
failing.
on that, there's a lot of people who tend to point towards any type of streaming service or anything between Hulu, DVR, things where they can watch them at a later time.
That does play a role for sure.
Yeah, because
That's why
I
you
don't
see a lot
watch
of
any of
people.
these live. Yeah, I don't watch any of these live, and that's the thing too. Is that do you want to sit through 3 hours? Sorry, do you want to sit through 2 hours of Raw and 1 hour of Raw of a Raw Underground, and then 2 hours on Friday every single week, plus the 2 hours on Wednesday, plus the 1 hour of main event?
And
Yeah,
the
but
1 hour
no.
of 205 Live,
What's main event on?
It's
the network.
well, you can that's mainly in foreign markets. It's WWE's like C show, but
Yeah.
Were the
I-
people who they've
it's-
signed and not released. Eric Young was a star.
well,
on
it's
it.
8. Yeah, it's 8:17 right now, and there has been 0 wrestling on Raw. So,
Yeah, I watched it. There hasn't been. It's still no wrestling.
Well,
Right?
here,
Why-
let's keep
why
going
are we
here
promoting it?
because
Two commercials, maybe I think 3 actually.
a lot of people say that discussed Triple H possibly being groomed to take over for Vince, and actually I thought it was interesting because Pat and I just talked about this. So in the wrestling world, wrestling fans see him as the next guy up, and he would be the natural transition in terms of the face of WWE. But in terms of experience, in terms of having that financial wizard czar type personality, and he hasn't even been presented by WWE or anybody publicly as this is the guy that's going to take over after Vince McMahon. This is the number 2 and only for the wrestling fans who follow the product closely know he's in charge of NXT. Really, the mainstream world knows him as Triple H, and they know he has some power in WWE and some stroke, but WWE needs to do a better job preparing Triple H for the role in terms of financial experience and in terms of selling him to Wall Street. I really don't think that narrative has been out there as much as it should have been, and that's scary to think of, knowing that we're in a global pandemic. Vince McMahon is a 74-year-old man where he's one drop away from potentially a disaster in WWE, and that stock will go to
100%.
zero if Vince McMahon is not around or even not well enough to run the company.
Well,
So I slightly agree with that because remember he killed himself in a friggin' limo explosion, you know, and they put out their press release that he passed. Stocks dropped 12%. Okay, within 24 hours. Okay, because for some ungodly reason, this is what we decided to do. And I know the long game was that there was a storyline or whatnot, but then the same thing happened when he quote sold Raw to Trump. You know, you know, it was like 10+% again the very next day, 24 hours. So that's two sides of the coin there, where it's also changing at the times as well, where you have now five different wrestling promotions that you can watch.
Now,
So I'm like on the fence about that though.
to interject on the Vince McMahon limo explosion, what also happened in that 48-hour stretch that could have possibly
That was actually a week or two later.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So okay, yeah, it's a week later. You're right. I apologize.
You're
A
good.
week later, not a night later. For some reason, I had in my head it was Tuesday night
Oh, it's-
SmackDown.
It feels
Um,
like it. It feels like it was right upon each other.
But my point still is the same. Within a week of Vince McMahon killing himself, you know, kayfabe.
Sounds so bad.
You also have Chris Benoit brutally murdering his wife and son and hanging himself. So can we really say it's Vince McMahon's character dying and then putting that out? That was, I mean, I don't think you can say that was.
No,
The
that was
only-
that was
the
an
only
actual press
thing-
release.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't think you can attribute all of the loss there to just that.
From
Well,
my
this-
In the
understanding,
first 24 hours, yes.
yeah, the first 24 hours following the death, like the
Okay.
death.
Yeah,
So
well,
this
we
was
didn't know
within a
what had
day.
happened with Benoit yet.
Okay.
Well,
All
and,
right.
and you
Fair
al-
enough.
also let me be having some experience with investing in Wall Street and paying attention to
Okay.
those things.
All right.
That's not just a thing with WWE. That's any CEO or a head of a company that's a kind of a figurehead person. We saw it with
Yep.
Steve Jobs. We see it with Bill Gates.
Elon
Matter of
Musk.
fact, we've had we've had CEOs just recently. A lot of CEOs, the CEO Ford stepped down. And so when those things happen, whether when you have a person who's associated with a company so thoroughly, I think that that's going to cause something. But I think what they're saying is that if they would show stockholders that there's a plan, okay, that's like, okay, we know Vince McMahon's not going to live forever. The company's not going to die with him. Here's the plan. These are the people we're grooming, and they haven't done that. And I think that speaks more to Vince's sort of megalomania than anything.
Wow.
That he's
Yeah.
not going to let that happen. While I'm still alive, it's
Let
my
me-
company, that kind of thing.
Well,
Let me add to
It's
that.
sad.
Let me add to that real quick. So, does anyone know who Kanua thinks would be the actual leader to Wall Street? Like, who
Shane
would be the
McMahon.
follower?
Shane
Jeff Ryan?
Yeah.
or Stephanie.
I would go Stephanie.
I have two answers, and WWE canceled them. Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, stated Kanua.
Okay.
They were the co-presidents who were behind the $2 billion. WWE is a company that is a grease fire when it comes to creatively, when it comes to KPIs, but the only thing that's holding them up is that massive television deal, and that's a massive deal. They're making record numbers. That's the work of the co-presidents, Barrios and Wilson, who were working side by side with Triple H and Vince, but they were the spearhead of those deals. So he thinks that Wall Street would have bought them, but they had disagreement with Vince or something. We still don't know exactly what happened. Both of them were fired, and nobody replaced them. That's what's scary about this.
Right.
So if somehow Wilson and Barrios were able to come back in the company, or they had two wizard types that Wall Street was able to see them succeed, they would not have, or they would have been a great answer for Vince's successor. But now they're not around, and Triple H is not enough.
Right.
So
Well, let's
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if there's anyone in the McMahon family who's gonna spark the intrigue of Wall Street on this.
No,
And
probably not.
They just have to look like there's a plan, and there's a plan going forward, and it's all handled and under control. The truth is, it's not. Okay, it's not. It's an old man who is getting old. He's senile. He's been doing steroids for 40 years, and his brain is fried, and it shows.
You don't have to worry about something when you're dead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So-
not your problem anymore.
Right.
My big thing and takeaway from this is, I feel like this shows a lot of criticism from WWE is justified at this point. And I think a lot of us could say that creatively, we agree with that. I mean, as fans of the product, and I use the word fans loosely, as watchers of the product, it really, a lot of our perception seems spot on, at least with what Wall Street would think financially,
Mm-hmm.
which means if the money agrees, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have. I mean, like Dwight said, they just don't have any plan, or like they're not showing anything. And investors and stuff, money talks. The only color that matters is green. And like you were saying earlier, WWE can do a lot more things, or not do a lot more things. Have a lot more overhead slash weight on their shoulders because they got a $200 million deal. Like, so yeah, that stuff's got to be fished out. I mean, you can't just be doing a fly by night type deal, when you got something like that going on. But I mean, like
they made an investment, and they're gonna want a return on that investment, and right now they're not getting it. And
No.
the sad thing is, if you think about this, all of sports was canceled. for the last few months. If there was ever an opportunity to get new fans, they had nothing else to watch. Okay. And so we were still putting on weekly programs. And what did we get? We got a dumpster fire every single week. We had nothing compelling to watch. There was no compelling storyline. There was no compelling thing to have those guys who aren't watching baseball, who aren't watching basketball, who aren't watching the things they normally be watching. Now you have something, and they turn it on and they see garbage like I'm watching on my screen right now with Dominic Mysterio tied up in the ropes and getting.
He's still on the TV.
Dwight, it's 8:25. Dwight, it's 8:25. They've gone through 4 commercials and they're still in the ring.
Was this the opening segment?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Umberto Carrillo came out. And now they're beating down Dominic with kendo sticks.
From Raw to SmackDown, let's talk about Dave Meltzer. Recently was on Wrestling Inc. Daily and discussed the possibility of us having a Friday Night Warfare between AEW and WWE. Okay. So the one since SmackDown has moved to Fox, ratings have not been what Fox was kind of promised. And what does that mean when the Fox could pull the plug on the show at some point? So SmackDown is getting a regular rating of about 1.9 most weeks. But there's heavy consideration that if they were to drop anywhere from a 1.7 or as low as maybe a 1.5, Fox may reconsider and move them towards FS1.
I think the problem is that they're on Friday nights, honestly, because if you're a regular, family or you're a regular person, it's the end of the work week. Do you want to sit down and freaking waterboard yourself with whatever garbage they're putting on the TV?
But that's kind of the thing.
No,
if you want to watch SmackDown,
personally,
that is.
Personally, I want to spend time with my wife and my son Friday nights after we both worked a long week. I don't want to watch that dreck on my screen.
Now,
personally,
assume SmackDown's good though. It hasn't been, but assume.
Most people
it was good before they moved to Fox.
It was
better.
It was better than what they put it on Fox. Is what I meant.
It was good until they
ended the brand switch and redid everything.
Until they started doing better than Raw, and then they took all the people and moved around because Raw has to do better than SmackDown.
Yeah, personally, they would do better on a Thursday night because other than PWO, which everybody should be watching anyway, there's no other wrestling promotion on. There's nothing.
Yeah,
okay?
Except in the fall when they're going to get killed by Thursday Night Football. Just like Raw is going to get killed in a couple of weeks when Monday Night Football comes back.
Oh, I can't wait.
So
for both.
So here's the continued argument, though. He doesn't see TNT trying to compete with Fox. But in AEW's contract, they do have the opportunity to create a second show, specifically looking at about 1 hour. So they don't think they would try to go head-to-head with Fox, but if it was FS1, that changes it significantly. In fact, it might actually entice TNT to give them the 8 to 9 spot, go with the second show. We'll go head-to-head with them. It may fail, but I would think that it wouldn't. I would think that you would do real well in this situation. So if you have AEW
on Saturday,
on Friday 8 to 9.
I would think they should go Saturday at 6:05. That's what if I was going to schedule it. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think anything Friday night is just a really touch and go.
I'm not watching wrestling on Friday night, even if it was New Japan.
Well,
from
let's
8
say
to 9.
we're saying this, and three of our hosts on here are football coaches who coach on Friday nights, which is a very real thing. That's a very real thing to think about here. Yeah,
and now you think about the pandemic and how everything is played into that. If some states are still playing football Friday nights. So you think about states like that, and you have anything on Friday night, and that's one group of people that aren't going to be watching your product.
Right, and think about the states where wrestling is huge, and the states where high school football is huge are a huge overlap, especially in the South.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah. I think you're probably right.
I think until the product returns to a point where people want to watch it, you can put it on Tuesday night, you can put it on Wednesday night.
Yeah. You're right. Pat. You're right,
It
Pat.
does not matter.
You're right.
The product
Right.
is shit, and that's why the ratings are shit.
Wow. Meltzer continues here saying,
If you were in the prime of the 90s and the Attitude Era, they'd be doing 3.0s on Friday.
Yep.
Right.
That's the
So
reality.
you're right. You're right. And I guess it didn't matter what else was going on Friday night when I turned my television on and I DVR it like I do every week, and I see Miz and Morrison interviewing Mandy Rose's hair with googly eyes on it. Yeah.
And surprisingly, like, those are the best segments of the evening.
Mhm.
And it's what a joke.
It is. It's all, the product is god awful. It's god awful. You spent 3 segments on a combination of Corbin, Matt Riddle, Sheamus, and Shorty G.
and Jeff
Right,
Hardy.
And
was
then
in
you
there.
could probably throw Jeff Hardy in there somewhere.
Well, someone's got to do the drinking.
I thought that would be me. I thought I would do the drinking to try and make it bearable.
Well, and then you have every match end with a run-in disqualification, and for like I was like, what? You can't do the same finish for every match.
Yes,
Just
you
'cause of the
can.
product coming up.
So
There's a paper that they read every Friday night that says the same thing.
So let me ask this.
So
Are we not going to shoot on Seth Rollins? That's the whole.
Yeah,
reason.
I
That
was
is the
I was
whole
gonna
reason.
get there, but I want to say this last thing here from this interview. So now
Hey, can we give that? Hey, Matt, before you do that, can we
Oh,
make sure
no.
can we put a link to that guy because we've actually used that a lot, so we probably want to give that guy credit in the notes or something.
just WrestleLink in general or
Where
Wrestling
the,
Inc.
where the
whoever-
interview was
Yeah,
from.
where the interview was from because we
Yeah.
quoted liberally.
Yeah.
So we want to give that guy credit.
So Wrestling Inc. Daily has a lot of really great promos and interviews. This one came out, I want to tell you, this morning. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It came out the 8th. So we'll post those links so you can also read along here. But he does say, now there is some concern that would kill business, as we saw with Nitro against Raw and TNA versus Raw. Now, but here is where, and this might be Meltzer getting his perceived paid bias here. The overall popularity of AEW is far above where TNA was when it moved to Monday nights. Even when TNA had Hogan and Flair and all of that with more star power, I don't think they ever had the cool factor with the young audience that AEW has.
True.
agreed.
It's true.
Yeah, because I think as just general wrestling fans, it's what 2012, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark, and you see Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff on your screens running things in TNA, which you think the mid to late 2000s, and TNA is watchable. And then the first night they moved to Mondays, and you see Orlando Jordan, and he's spritzing lotion on himself, and it like nobody wanted to see that. It wasn't even a competition.
Well, if you think about this, I heard a shoot interview with Sabu years ago, and he said Vince McMahon told him, he said, we don't hire superstars, we make superstars.
He's right.
And
Except-
if you watch WWE though, that's what they look like. They do is they create characters, and then it's like a live action version of action figures, right? It's whatever you have your heroes, and then you just put them against each other, and that's supposed to be compelling, rather than there being stories and because it doesn't matter who the characters are if I care about the story. I watch shows all the time. I don't know, but within the first half hour, if I'm intrigued, I'm going to watch the rest of it. Instead, what we've got is a bunch of characters, and it's just randomly put together. There's no reason for why they want to beat each other up. If you give people a story, they'll watch it. And instead, what we've got is they don't understand that at WWE. They think if we have big characters, that's what sells. And that's why TNA failed, because they bought into that. And they says, we need to hire big stars. And it doesn't work. It doesn't
So let's
work.
bring back
So-
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Real quick,
Right,
for those of you who are watching Raw, I don't know why.
I am. And
I am.
Alundra Blaze
I'm not.
took to Twitter. So we are bringing back half-naked women in the same breath of promoting the evolution and equality of women. Yes, this is entertainment. Yes, this is a skit. Yes, this is acting. Yes, these are wrestlers. Why resort to women sexually dancing to open a show? Why not men in Speedos?
Because it doesn't fit the underground.
Yeah.
Lance
Because-
Storm responded.
because-
That's a different kind.
That's a different kind of underground. Yeah.
Lance
Yeah.
I can
Storm.
be serious for just a moment.
Lance Storm
what
responded, I agree with your point completely. I'll pop huge tonight, though, if they do a women's underground and have 3 Chippendale-type dancers. If they're going to do eye candy, at least do it for everyone. Hashtag equality.
Well,
So,
and then I
Lance
would say
Storm
this.
covering himself from last week, I think.
There
if
you
you if you're gonna do that type of underground when you got Chippendales dancers, then I definitely want to see Lars Sullivan and Seth Rollins.
Wow.
go.
All right, Pat, it's the segment you've waited for all night. Seth Rollins on the Gorilla Press podcast. Know that little planning has gone into the molding of his character, which has evolved on a weekly basis. He then also explained why slow burn storytelling is a lost art today, not just in wrestling, but across all entertainment platforms. The quote goes, "In the age of instant gratification, audiences don't have the patience for long-term storytelling," Rollins said. "When you can binge watch your favorite series in 2 days as opposed to 2 months, it creates a different precedent on how we intake our entertainment. We are consuming our entertainment differently, and wrestling is not immune to this shift." Also adds, "We have to adapt as well to keep up with our audience. I'm in my 30s, so I grew up to the longer form of entertainment, but our younger audience isn't wired that way."
Really?
So what's that?
You-
Yeah. Good.
Well, my one
go.
one response to that is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Shut up.
But also like everything. Yes, you can binge watch a 12 episode show in a weekend, but then you wait a year for that next season.
Right.
How long were you waiting for Ozark that next season? How long were you waiting for Narcos?
Right.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like anything, it doesn't matter if you can binge watch the whole season when it's out there. Then you patiently sit there and wait a whole year for the next season.
Right. I'm waiting
Like,
for Glow right now. Season 4
doesn't-
for Glow. I'm waiting for it.
It doesn't make any damn what he said doesn't make any damn sense. What he's trying to tell you is my company is stupid. We are run by a guy who doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Thank you.
The story changes every night because he can't decide what the hell we're putting on TV. And I've sold out. And I care more. And I care
You sold
more.
out.
I
You
care more
sold
about.
out.
I care more about Vince McMahon and his image than I care about the wrestling fan. And that's why screw Seth Rollins. I won't support you. I won't buy your merch.
So,
Well, that's because
I hope you blow your damn knee out.
Mm.
I hope
Yeah.
Dominic buries you. At some-
All right.
so
I hope we get the
I hope-
chance.
I want to give a different perspective on this.
it's
All right.
gonna be a wrong one. That's fine.
I hope we get a chance to burn it down, and by it I mean his house.
I'm done. Like I'm done with him. He go back and look at all the dumb shit he said to Osprey. Like he's such a damn mark for Vince and the WWE at this point. It's like that chair that he hit Ambrose and Reigns with was like a real life deal
Right.
that he is now signed in blood to with the WWE, because he wouldn't have been the star. And-
He's
So-
it's
he-
Vince Trips Rollins at this point, right?
He buried his own face push because he was awful.
Right.
And now he can't,
No,
Yes, he
WWE buried
did.
his own face.
No,
his
he
No,
own
did.
face
no,
push.
no,
He-
that was
he did.
WWE.
no.
If you go win the world title and then be immediately paired up with your girlfriend on TV, that doesn't show you as
Dwight,
a strong world
Dwight.
champion.
Dwight, what do you think?
No,
Thanks,
I'm talking
'cause he
about
was a
no.
cuck.
I'm talking about when he-
well,
when he
he's
came
when,
back,
when you're
when it was-
when you're the top baby face in the company and you're a heel asshole on Twitter and you're burying people who
Yep.
just for no reason, then
Yep.
that shows who you really are. That's
yes,
what he
it
did.
shows
Yep.
that you're a dickhead, and that's
I'm
why
talking-
it wasn't a
Yeah,
believable.
but
face.
that was
Exactly.
2 months
He-
following this
he
horrible
killed-
booking, and we were already booing him.
The booking was horrible, but they were still booking him as a face after that.
Sure.
I'm talking.
And-
Spell
No,
it
and-
out for you.
And
I'm talking
Seth
about.
is a C-U-C-K. Cuck. Because his face turn
It's
was
the
all
word of
about
the day.
Becky Lynch.
I'm talking about when he came back from the knee. They should have pushed him as a face there, and they didn't. They screwed that up.
So-
WWE screwed that up.
WWE screwed that one up.
It
Yeah,
circles
that-
back
Alright.
to Vince. It always
So-
does.
Getting
But-
back to my point here, because I never got to make it. I don't think he's necessarily wrong in the fact that there's a large number of wrestling fans who want feuds to be ended immediately and move into the next product. Primarily, you see this with AEW when you start seeing people come over to New Japan initially. I do think a large portion of that is because there's a large audience who are used to WWE's booking and everything's supposed to be done in 2 weeks because they've booked 2 pay-per-views in the same month. I don't think
Right.
that is wrong. I still agree that he's a dick, but I don't think
No.
he's wrong in that statement.
No, he's totally wrong because
Right.
nobody is given the opportunity who's a W. You can't say, well, WWE fans don't want long-term booking because they never get it. So you have no idea how they're
He never
going to
specifies
treat-
WWE fans,
They're,
though.
they're, yeah, but he says wrestling fans. He's talking about WWE fans.
Yeah, he ain't talking about nobody else.
Because people who don't like WWE like slow burns.
Right.
People who are AEW fans, people who are
Did
New
you not
Japan
just hear me
fans.
say exactly what I just said?
Yep.
And
Well,
my point is the people you are talking about, they have no way to gauge it because they don't get it.
Right.
You don't know that they would like it or hate it. What are some of the best stories of 2020? But
Oh, wrestling stories?
Yeah.
Well, MJF and Cody. MJF and Cody.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I thought of.
Naito winning the belts.
Yeah.
Right. Evil turned it on Lij, which took a
Mhm.
month and a half, and
Ta-
well,
Takahashi's right, come back.
Yeah. Well, and I think that because the way they used to do it, and even when in the era of pay-per-views, it was always sort of you had those 4 big pay-per-views and the intermediate pay-per-views, and so you could further storylines that paid off at SummerSlam, at Survivor Series, at the Royal Rumble, at WrestleMania, but you had those intermediate ones to continue on. Now it's like they're booking month to month, pay-per-view to pay-per-view.
They're booking
Then-
night to night. They're
Yeah,
booking
and-
night to night. They don't
Yeah.
know what
Well,
they
and so,
don't
like-
know what they're putting on TV next Monday, and they've
Right.
been able to plan for it for 2 weeks because they shot both of these Raws last week,
Well, and, it
and
was
they
just
have
like the,
no idea what they're going to do next
on
week.
Friday.
This is on
the whole-
TV tonight? Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, well, if you think on Friday, the whole Sheamus and Jeff Hardy thing, I thought we were transitioning to Sheamus
As a
and Baron
face?
Corbin, and we kind of were, but then we kind of aren't, and it's super confusing because that was only a couple of weeks ago, and now you're on to something else, or maybe
Yeah.
you're not,
And
and
they-
it's crazy.
And they did a whole shtick with Sheamus where he's dressed up as a 1930s paper boy and like totally changed his gimmick for one promo, and then they totally drop it. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh God.
And
I
and
really
this is,
don't.
and this is why Seth Rollins is an idiot. And I'm done with it, man. I'm done with that guy. He is literally saying "F you" to wrestling fans and saying you're not intelligent enough to understand long-term booking. That is
Right,
what he said.
when he had the whole burn it down thing, he had set himself up to be the anti-hero, that Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of anti-hero, and instead he's the company man. That's what he is.
Yep.
And that's who he is deep inside his soul. He sold out to the company, and I don't believe him. I don't believe him as anything else.
Shit, Roman Reigns stands up to the company.
Listen.
more than him.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'll say that
Roman Reigns is on TV.
Roman and Seth are the same person, but just on different brands, and that makes Vince happy.
Okay.
Anyone, any other statements on this before we?
I'm not wasting my breath.
Screw
Seth Rollins,
CrossFit Jesus.
yeah, unless your name is Tyler Black and you're not working for WWE, you're not welcome on the show.
I don't want him. I don't want him anymore. Don't want him anymore.
Pat is done with you, period.
Done.
Look, say all you want. We have a WWE superstar coming on the show. I'm interviewing him. So, but this could be your chance for me to ask all those questions you want.
Oh,
So-
I'll come on this show. I'll ask him, and I'll tell him to his face, he's a damn sellout. And
It won't be Kamala.
Stupid idiot.
he insulted the intelligence of the whole wrestling community. And,
Yeah.
He did.
and
He was-
screw him for that.
Seth sucks eggs.
Oh wow, there you go.
Hi. Good
Are
lord.
you banning him from PWO like Chris Jericho banned Cornette from watching AEW?
Oh man, bring him.
Yeah,
Let him attest to his sins.
screw him.
Oy vey. All right. Well, that being said, that's the rundown of everything we have. Join us on Thursday. We're going to have a bit more to talk about AEW, NXT, Impact. I'm sure Seth Rollins will do something to be in the newspaper.
What's our top 10?
Our top 10 coming up is going to be top 10 real emotional moments in wrestling, not
That-
including deaths and tributes.
I was gonna say top 10 real life douchebags. How about that?
Pat going.
One, Seth Rollins. Number
Pat-
two, Seth Rollins.
Pat going
Number
hard.
three,
Rollins, boy.
Seth
I was about to say,
Rollins.
Pat's a
done.
bit triggered here, I see.
So my next question is where does wrestling or growing up blow up doll fall in this?
My question. My
No, they
question.
brought it up on being the elite this week.
That was brought up.
My question to you is, Jeff, wrestling purist, why aren't you more triggered by it? Because you,
Pat, because
You should be.
hold on, Pat, because I cut this cord. I was the first. I cut this cord a long time ago. I go to when I go to sleep tonight, I'll sleep like a baby. And Seth Rollins and WWE don't mean nothing to me no more.
yeah, but
Sorry.
you turn it into underground.
Well, that's because it's a guilty pleasure. I need to see about. I need to see one more to see what the tomfoolery is going to go on. Then after
gonna
that,
be-
I'll probably-
listen.
I'll probably watch it.
Listen, when Raw's third-hour ratings are way higher than the first two,
I'm
and
blaming
you
Jeff.
complain about it, you are the only one that isn't allowed to say a dang thing because
guys.
you count into that.
Guys, I'm not going to complain. I could for the ratings. I don't care if AEW goes over or WWE. I could care less. Don't matter to me. Don't matter.
Demo God cares.
It don't matter.
Yeah, it
How,
don't matter
how
to
you
me.
gonna disappoint Chris Jericho like that, Jeff?
We didn't talk
Mhm.
about, and we didn't talk about the COVID concerts tonight.
No, that's all right. Rock and roll,
No,
baby.
There's a lot of different information coming about that, so I'd rather have some more definitive things first.
You know they already taped the
Smash
match
Mouth.
this week.
Well, hey, just
No.
in
I'm
that,
talking about
in-
actual concerning the concert.
Oh,
Yeah.
in that vein, if you guys want to come see a COVID concert, August 21st at Billiken Smokehouse will be back out there.
Wear a mask
So, woo!
before
Segue.
Jim Cornette cancels you.
It's out.
Outdoor
out-
event.
It's outdoors. It's outdoor patio. So come on out, rock and roll. August
Good-
21st.
Good barbecue and good beer.
Good barbecue.
Following
Rock and roll.
some technical difficulties, Ryan, my understanding is we're getting closer to a double header on referee's discretion coming up this week at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 3 to 4 days in my house. My son broke my phone. My son spent the night at my in-laws' house for the first time, which is crazy. My closet flooded this morning, and I have no way to shoot referee's discretion until my equipment is back. So the first episode, it will be episode 5. It will be the long-awaited TNA Hardcore Justice 2010.
Oh,
And then
gosh.
following that is the aforementioned WCW Road Wild 1998, where the main event is Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff versus Diamond Dallas Page and anybody?
Carl Malone.
No, that
No,
would be
that's
Is
a
this-
Rodman
is this
one.
Jay Leno?
That's a Rodman one.
Jay
Leno.
Jay Leno, you're right.
Jay Leno.
Yeah, so it's very crazy. Fun fact while we still got a little bit of time. The month before Bash of the Beach, it was the Karl Malone one
Yeah,
with DDP
Rodman.
against Rodman
That's right.
and Hollywood Hogan. Then the very next month, they decided to do the Leno thing. So
Guys, I'm so
Um,
tired of all these celebrities burying top stars.
And Hogan sold an arm ringer from Jay Leno, which was hilarious. But
Listen.
Well, he's a professional.
I want you to know this. If you listen to Dime Dallas Page when he was on Joe Rogan, he actually credited Dennis Rodman sort of as
Yeah.
that's where DDP yoga came from, because
The chair shot.
Rodman hit him with a chair shot in the back that messed his back up, which is why he started doing yoga. So hey, it all worked out.
Hogan also took a diamond cutter from Karl Malone, I believe.
100% he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he sold it.
Yeah, so
don't
but
give
yeah,
away
to
too
wrap
much
the-
here.
Sorry. To wrap that up, though, as soon as my equipment gets back, we'll get a doubleheader. I should get some stuff back this week, though. So appreciate everybody's patience. I know I know you won't be disappointed.
Hey, I heard you.
Fantastic.
So if you lost some of your wrestling shirts, I'll offer up the Seth Rollins shirts to you if you need some.
He might need
I
something
want
to
you all-
burn it down.
I want you to burn it down.
And with that being said, we hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us on Monday. I don't know why you're still watching Underground Jeff, but you're still here doing it. If you're watching Raw, I guess leave a comment. Tell us what you think it's like. God, peace be with you. I hope everything's well that you're watching the show.
Godspeed.
Referee's discretion.
Referee's discretion coming soon. Thank you all for coming on, and we'll see you all on Thursday. Stay classy.
Referee's discretion.